I don't know what just happened. Camera came on and I wasn't ready, but people, happy Sabbath to you wherever you are. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath to every one of you wherever you are this morning. This is Miss Beth. This is the life of the old teacher now on vacation. This morning I just thought of you guys and I received some blessings that really had me thinking and just reminding me um, of a few things. And I just wanted to talk to you, my family. Just, when good things happen, we call up our family members, right? And we talk to them about it. We're going through tough times, we call them and we say, pray for me, please pray for me. It's so hard. I need your prayers. And so we cannot forget. And so this morning I haven't seen my sister-in-law for a while on joining in the lives or commenting on the videos. Haven't seen my niece Carrie Ann either, but this morning I got up and I saw a voice note from my sister-in-law and I said, oh God, I hope everything is okay, and I listened, and then I listened again. And it's the blessings that came through that voice note. It is, we cannot take things for granted, people. So as we celebrate the Sabbath, and those who do not celebrate it, understand that many times we pray and we think that it's just our prayers that God had answered. Many times things happen for us and we are wondering why, how comes, you know, and a lot of times it's a prayer that others have prayed for you. Sometimes people see your situations and they asking God to open a way for you or to 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 just make things happen for you. And you don't even know that those prayers were being prayed. But this morning, as I read her voice note to me, I just had to take a second thought, moment to think and to realize that blessings and gifts come in different shapes and forms. It's not only when somebody buys you something or gives you something that it's a gift. But just listening to her, and she's watching the videos because she can tell you what is going on in the videos. And she says sometimes as she's getting older, she forgets a little bit of things, and her birthday is coming up next week, and I don't know which day yet because I'm older too. So I don't remember too much. I write things down, and if I have to do it often, then, it becomes. But it was just so, she watched the video with Grayson looking at his sister and bonding with his sister, and the sister looking like she understands everything. She's only a couple of days old at the time. And she just blessed them up. She just blessed us up. She just, so much blessings and prayers. And I just say, thank you, my sister. Thank you so much. Because it's those times when we forget to pray or forget to ask for some things because we probably don't even realize we need those things. That people like you are there praying for us and asking God to bless us in those special ways. So this morning I say to us, I was in bed, just laying in bed watching tennis. I'm so thankful. I am so thankful. I'm so joyful. And Terrian called me. And we talked like for 2.5 hours. She's getting ready for work, for church, and we were just talking about all of these little things. And tomorrow, as it becomes Father's Day, I said to her, listen, it's Father's Day. They're creating a big to-do for fathers. But please remind them that there are many mothers who were fathers who had to play the role of the father too. A lot of times because we're in the church and we feel like, oh no, if you're not looking this way, then you can. But we need to grow with the times and understand that fathers are supposed to be providers and protectors, and to teach our little boys how to tie their ties, and to talk to them about being good fathers when they get older, and good husbands, and take them to get their hair cut, and all those little things. And when they are missing from the picture, then who has to do it but the poor mother? We have to take up the role, and we have to make sure that we are creating those kind of characters, those kind of behaviors and attitudes that will make them become successful people and not walk out of a marriage or walk out of a relationship because they don't like something, or because the wife's got fat, or, you know. And even if they have to walk away because of differences, irreconcilable differences, but they still play their role, they still are present. And so I told her, I said, irrespective, let the people know that there are many mothers there who deserve the right to be acknowledged for the roles they play as dads too. And then I came out and I've made breakfast. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry. It's allergy season. Um, I made breakfast, and as I sat down to eat, I heard a ping on my phone, and I looked at it, and this was another friend just checking in, and I'm like, how do you know that I was thinking about you at this moment? And as I say, guys, our blessings come in different shapes and forms. When you can wake up and you can laugh, when you have somebody to talk with, when you have people praying for you, let us not overlook and don't take these things for granted, because they make our lives worthwhile, make it feel good. So I'm talking to you this morning. I'm still just in night clothing, but I just needed to talk to you right from this point, because my heart is thankful, and I know that the days will come when there'll be tears and there'll be sorrow. But until those days come, I have to learn to laugh and appreciate, and even when those days come, I pray. One of the prayers I pray, and I prayed and I asked God, I said, you have been good to us. You have been so good to us. And as I said, Lord, I have to be mindful that the days will come when things will happen and heartaches will come, but I want to have that heart and that mind to not be ungrateful, that I will remember when the days were good and everything was plenty and there was laughter, and that I can still be thankful regardless of what comes. And so I pray each day to just strengthen me and to give me the mind and the kind of a kind of mental abilities, a kind of a heart that will not turn bitter and cold and ugly and unthankful when those days come, but I'll remember all of the many blessings that God has bestowed upon us on this journey. And this one, as you traverse the church, or if you're just sitting comfortably at home, just remember also that we talk about tithes and offerings, and as we go to church, let us remember and let us read again the words of God. A lot of times we're just listening to what the pastors say, and we walk away, and, oh, as my aunt always said when we talk, and people get up in church and the pastor said or reverend said, but they're not saying the Bible says. And so let us be mindful of those things. Let us not sit and just listen to what the pastor says, but let us read for ourselves, and let us analyze for ourselves, and let us understand the word. Let us ask God to open our dark understandings, so that we can see the things that he wants us to see and understand the things that he wants us to understand in the way we should understand it. People interpret the Bible and they pick out pieces to fit their agenda. There's so many churches, but we're only serving one God. So everybody looks at the Bible and they see the benefits, they see the tax breaks, they see all of the things that people will come in and give them the best of their farm produce. they'll come in and they provide in such a way so they're driving fancy cars and live in beautiful homes while the poverty is there, while people are struggling, and while they're telling people that, when you have nothing, then you can serve God more. But look at their lives. Look at how they live. Look at how they live. They tell you bring in 10%. So you're making 80,000 for the month and you bring in 10%. You're giving them 8,000. And if 10 of you give them 8,000, that's $80,000. What do they do for that? And their bills are paid, and consider those who make less and are bringing in those 10%. And a lot of you are sitting out there, can't even find your next night's dinner. So is that what God really wants from us? He says the little you do for one of those out there, you're doing it for him. I've never seen God in a temple, a fancy temple with stained glass windows. I've never seen him when Christ was on earth. He traversed the land on foot. He stops he had places he would stop at, Lazarus and Mary and Martha and different places, and then he continues on his journey. But now with all these congregations and all these churches and the grand buildings and all these grandness. And a lot of times if you're struggling and you go to them and ask for support, they're lending you. These denominations, these Seventh-day, Catholic, whatever they are, Methodist, Anglican, Church of God, Church of God of Seventh-day, Church of God of Holiness, Jesus only. All of these people who say they're serving the same God. And they have the same St. James version of a Bible, but they interpret it to fit what they want to fit. Because each one needs their chunk of that 10% of what you have. And they make you feel guilty. But yet the poverty reeks. Right? Christ was going on, healing the sick, feeding, giving blessings, encouraging, motivating, uplifting. That's what Christ was doing here on earth. And he came as an example for us people. So why do we go on a Sabbath morning or Sunday morning crisply dressed with our hair up and our hair well done and we are so perfect? And yet we walk past the homeless. We walk past those who have nothing. And yet we feel good when we sit up in the pew. And some of us walk out of church before it ends because we want everybody to see us. And we go home and we feel good. And yet we have so much people out there. So is it a wrong way of interpreting? Are we only interpreting it just for us to feel good? Or should we interpret it the way that Christ came and lived for us? Because those of us who can't read well, all we have is the life that God left there for us. And if we looked at Christ's life, then we'd see that. And nowhere in the Bible it said he had a grand temple that he went to every day and worshiped. On the Sabbath, he was walking through a cornfield. And he broke corn and he tells them, if you're hungry, you got to eat. If your animal fell over in the precipice on the Sabbath, you're going to let it stay there and die? Or you're going to get up and go over there and get it done? So Christ lived these lives for us to show us that we shouldn't make these things become a noose around our necks. We have to learn to live and understand that we shouldn't pretend that what we're doing is for Christ. Christ was never a hypocrite. He was never a person who was into best dress and what you look like. He walked in his sandals, comfortable shoes. He wasn't up in high heels, crisping and carrying on. He was in comfortable shoes traversing the land. This long robe. And he told Paul, when he was going, he says, if you stop in somebody's house and they didn't accept you, say, shake the dust off your coat and keep going. You don't need to sit around in situations that are not healthy, that are ugly, it makes you sad every day. He says, shake the dust off and keep going. So people, as you get up and you're going to these churches, understand that your heart, and that's the greatest thing. Your body is a temple of the living God. Your body. It didn't say a temple, a thing. They say, oh, but we shouldn't forget the assembling of ourselves one with another. You can assemble with the poor. You can go over there, clean their house, show them how to take care of themselves. You can get a few of you go in there and sing and pray with them and give them hope and teach them how to pray. That's assembling yourselves one with another. You don't need to go into a grand pew and to show off and who can speak eloquently and who can look the best and who can. No. Teach our children to do community services. Teach our children to give back. Empower them with those kind of characters so that they can become worthy of Christ and his blessings. So please, as you go forward, people, stop looking and stop reading things to fit to suit your lives. But look at Christ's life. If you couldn't read, if we didn't have access to a Bible, we don't know the twists and turns. We don't know, but we know his life was simple and humble. He appreciates everybody for who they were. Levites, Gentiles, Jews, whoever they were. He accepted them. And he told us what not to do. And he taught us how to pray and why we should pray. But let us remember that 10%, he didn't tell us to pay 10%. He didn't go in anywhere when he told the leper, when he cleansed the lepers, he didn't say, come back and give me 10% of anything. You know, he never did. When he talked to the rich man, he said, what can I do to inherit the kingdom of God? He said, sell what you have and give to the poor. He knew that was a hard one because people don't want to live like the poor. They don't want to appreciate the humble lives. A lot of people who grew up in poverty, they come today and they act like, oh, not me, oh, I can't, and come with this air about them, you know. But that's the best life. That's the best living. If we can reach a point where nothing matters, the vanity of vanities, there are vanities and vexation of spirit. You have a nice home, but, you know, the taxes to be paid, you got to work hard to maintain it. And you're comfortable, but in that comfort, just learn to give back. Just learn to understand that Christ, when he walked the earth as it was, he walked as an example. He loved children. He said, suffer them to come to me. He said, don't keep them back. Why are you pulling them back? Why are you trying to not let the kids get part of the blessing? He said, let them come to me. He said, spare not the rod and spoil the child. You've got to discipline your kids. You can't let them run wild and crazy and then tomorrow you cry when they become gunmen and robbers and scammers. You have to teach them the way of Christ. Teach them how to pray. Teach them how to give back to their community. You know, they have a little extra this. Teach them to wrap up a little part of their sandwich and hand it to a poor person. Teach them those little things, because those are the things my grandmother taught me. When I got home and she said, bring this to Miss Louise. Granny, she could have brought it to her, but Granny was teaching me that it's okay to not even have your dinner before you run down and give this to Miss Louise. When she would make porridge for lunch in the day on a Saturday, we're home, we had those big white mugs that could chip, enamel mugs. And she would make the porridge, and before I could sit and drink my porridge, she put Miss Louise in the thing, and she said, hold it carefully and bring it down to Miss Louise. Maybe Miss Louise don't have lunch. Those are the things she taught me, and these are the things I've taught my children. And I'm happy that my son is teaching these things to his children, because they're wholesome and good things. So guys, I just felt like talking today. I'm happy I'm home, and I'm just talking to you from the heart. As I sit here, I'm watching tennis. I'm here, and you know, as I said, I was baptized as a Seventh-day Adventist. I started out my young days as a Moravian, going to the Moravian church every Sunday. When you get a little pair of shoes, sometimes it hurts your foot so badly because they don't know. They buy these fancy little patent and they think poor granny. But then you're growing, and as the day progresses, your feet swells up. And so you're coming from church, you look nice in the morning, going to church, your nice white socks pulled up, and, you know, and where we lived, I couldn't wear my shoes from where we lived to come down. I had to carry them in my hand. And when I get down to the gate to enter the parochial road, I would put my nice little white socks on and put my shoes on, and I'm gone to church. But after church, the shoe becomes so tight, you got to take it off and walk home with it. But it didn't change who I am. It didn't make me become bitter, like, why couldn't they buy me a nicer shoes? They could stretch it. I was happy. At 14, I'm running up the hill barefooted. That didn't become who I am today. But it helped me to understand that if you have, be satisfied. And if you don't have as much, be satisfied. And when God blesses you, enjoy your blessings, but don't let it become you. Don't let it become you that you become angry when things change. Enjoy each moment. And as you go forth, remember to be good to each other. A prayer, a call, a little text, something. It does make a big difference. So we may never know who is lifting us up in prayer, but we can sure see the benefits. So people, happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath to you wherever you are and whatever you choose to do. You interpret the words of God for yourself. He gave us the 10 commandments and he says, and these 10 commandments binds everything. He says 5 of them says to love your neighbors as yourself. He says don't envy anybody for what they have, right? And the other 5, it tells you to love God, to give him his due, And so you decide. Pray to God. He will open your understanding. He will create situations. I tell you, I said to my friend, I said, it is strange, it's unfathomable how every time, like, I go to write a message and at the same time they're sitting there writing a message. It's like just coincidental. You're here thinking about something that you want to say or ask, and all of a sudden the message comes in, and it's like so you have those situations that you can just laugh out loud. You just laugh, sometimes you just giggle and said, sometimes people come into your lives for different reasons, and so you enjoy each moment, and you just enjoy it. And when things change, you don't curse and carry on and get angry and frustrated, but it's what it is. So, as I am taping, I see a message coming across. How are you? Well, I am sending a video. It should have been a 5 minutes video, people, but it has become a 22 minutes video so far. But I just feel good inside. I mean, we finished the school year. We didn't have to clean up any blood off the carpet, as they say. That means we didn't have any major situations. Kids left on Wednesday and there were no fights. There were no schools getting shot up. There was no kids getting stabbed or shot, And so what can we say? Yesterday we had our last meeting with the principal, and believe me, it started out a little tight because, people are never happy. Sometimes we need more. We're not remembering the reason why. And I always say to them, I am here, I tell them how I feel. I'm not looking for people to do this and do that. I am grateful. We're not friends. We're not best friends. We'll never be best friends in the workplace. But we can be friendly to one another, be respectful to one another, and we keep going. And sometimes because of how we do things and how we say things to people, they think I'm a funny person, right? They all think I'm funny. But some people think my dry jokes are serious. Some people, what did you say? And because they don't stop to understand. But a lot of people appreciate my dry corny jokes, and we move on. And so at the end you'll see, you'll listen and you'll say, oh, I'm grateful to God that I was able to be effective that way, and you keep moving. So as you go to work, people, just don't expect anything. Do your best work and don't get caught up into the negatives and the cliques and all those situations, because it comes back and hit you hard in the face. But go in and be cordial to everyone and go home, because at the end of the day, you do go home to your families. So don't let those things deter you from coming in with a song in your heart. Sometimes I whistle, and I'm so grateful for the mask, because sometimes I'll just pop down whistling, and the kids will be like, who is whistling? It is interesting that some kids who have never whistled, they start trying to form their lips to whistle a tune. And they say, is whistling a good thing? I said, yes, it is. It lifts your spirit. It makes you feel light inside. So while you're whistling, you're focusing on your whistle. You're not focusing on negative things. Negative thoughts do not penetrate your mental space, you know. And so I say, I whistle a lot, I sing a lot, I whistle a lot. So I'm thankful. And so, people, I have the weight that I'm struggling with. I'm glad that I'm not gaining any, but step by step we're going onward. And my gratefulness will always be the amount of things I'm able to do now. You know, I go into the bathroom and I remember when I would get in there and I had to take a moment, you know. And now I could get in there, do everything, get out, get dressed, head to work. And so why am I going to sit and be like, oh, well, no, I'm grateful to God. I'm hoping I find a partner we could walk some. We have 3 things here. I'm going to see which one my son, we're talking about a cruise, we're talking about Bahamas, we're talking about Jamaica. I'm going to see which one we'll do, but I want my son, whatever it is, that he and I can do some walking together. I want a walking partner. I want somebody that we can just get up and go. Just go. And that's part of what will happen. We'll take 2 weeks of a vacation. I don't know where I'll end up. But we'll take 2 weeks of vacation. And even if we don't do a vacation, I'm going to be all right. Because I'm sure somebody is there, instead of spending $2,000, $3,000 on vacation, somebody going to need some help that we could even, So who knows? But I'm happy. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And I'm hoping wherever you are, the same is good for you. It's not what you have. It's just about being grateful for what you have. Make it work for you. Make it do what it needs to do for you. I'm watching my tennis. I'm enjoying my tennis. I am grateful to God I can afford cable so I could watch my tennis. And for those of you who have to be hustling and bustling and doing, enjoy it. Don't mumble, don't grumble. Enjoy it. Thank God for the little. Because believe me, when you are humble and thankful, He's going to open His windows and pour out more for you. Sometimes we're saying, oh my God, I've been praying. Maybe you're not in the place yet. Just give Him time to put you in that place, or when you get those blessings, it makes sense. A lot of us, we didn't get a lot of things when we were young. I sometimes say to Him, God, maybe the rough patches I went through when I was younger, those were the days you were preparing me for what you provided me with today. Because many who had gotten all the good things and they lived well, while I struggled. And today I look and I said, I am thankful I struggled when I was young, because you get older. As you get older, people, you really feel good that life is a little different for you, that it's a little more comfortable. So this morning, I don't know, just the fact that my sister-in-law sent me that voice note, and it just really, well, first it starts off with Terrian's call, and, just, I'm laying in bed and we're just chatting. For 2 hours we're chatting. We're just talking about everything, from how Brazil's fit to relationships, to Father's Day at church, to all of those good things, to her weight. We're laughing about her weight. She wants me to wear smaller clothing to highlight my body because I wear big clothes. I feel comfortable. I feel, and she wants me, she said, sis, you need to wear smaller things to highlight your body. And I'm not that I'm not that person, but we were just laughing and just having a good conversation. And by the time I left the bedroom, went to the bathroom, so I shower later. I'm not going to be just like, I have time. I have time to do what I need to do. I'm just grateful we finished the school year and we're here. And I'm here and my hair is not done. I'm going to get it done on Monday, but I'm fine. I'm grateful for every gray hair in my head because so many didn't live to get one gray hair in their heads. So I'm so thankful. I remember when I was gaining weight and the kids would, and the people, kids, oh, fat this, and they've called kids fat, and I would tell the kids, oh, don't cry when they tell you you're fat. Tell them because you have enough to eat. So I would come up with little things like, years ago we're talking, a group of us were talking in my classroom, and when I said that, they were cracking up. They were like, that's a good one. I said, yeah. Instead of crying and, oh, they're calling me fat. Oh, you're fat. You're fat, so don't cry. But if you want to say something and keep them quiet, they say, well, maybe I have enough to eat, that's why I'm fat. But people just find ways to live your life so that it's not overwhelming and it's not burdensome. Find ways to be thankful. Because when God sees a thankful heart, when people do things for people and they are thankful and grateful, you want to do so much more for them. And it's the same thing with Christ. When he does a little for us and we are thankful, we appreciate it, we don't question, oh my God, this is it. We are thankful. He makes a way for more and more. And when we get it and we're sharing it and we're making others, look, the windows of heaven just bust open and you just don't even know what to do with yourself. Don't know what to do with yourself. So let us cherish those things. Let us create those mindsets. And let us go forth. Let us go forth and be thankful and give back. Never ever be ungrateful. Don't ever forget kindness. When we forget kindness, and these are things Granny taught me and I never forget. I don't know, sometimes you're talking to people and they're acting like, oh, I don't remember you, and I don't remember, and these are things, and look how old I am today. But I remember clearly Granny would sit and say, my grandpitney, don't forget kindness. When people do for you, they don't have to do it. So when they do it, Mrs., don't you forget it. Don't forget kindness. And she said, no, ever bite the hand that feed you. Don't bite the hands that feed you. I had families who didn't want her to support me as a child. I was an interesting kid. I climbed trees. I did things. I go to the shop and I would eat out the sugar on the way home because it was just something you did. It was just something. It's like, how many kids have done it? But for me, if I did it, they look at me like, oh, Granny, don't waste time with her, don't. But thank God Granny wasted time with me, because in the end, when I was old enough and I left that area, left Springfield, and I went to Trelawney, I never forgot her. And when I migrated, I never forgot her. I remember I have a little pouch in here somewhere with a letter from her, 1997, I think Granny sent me that letter. And it is so interesting when I read the letter, and to see how much, the things that Granny was saying to me in that letter. And I had to laugh because some of it I don't even remember, Some of it I didn't even remember. I went up there and bought goats and left there. I didn't remember all of that. But but she'd write it and she would thank me like, and I said, oh my, yeah, here it is, people. This letter is from my grandmother. She would write so beautifully. 1992, people, if you can see that. Here it is. 1992, Granny sent me this letter. See? Springfield District. Right? And it says 24th of May, 1992. This was my beautiful grandmother's writing. And look how she addressed me. My dear granddaughter. You see that, people? So this is a letter from 1992 that Granny sent me. And I still have it to this day. Have it to this day. And Granny, she says, my best wishes to you and the children, brother, and the rest of the family in Jesus' precious name. God bless you for everything you sent for me. Here, listen, guys. Listen, when you hear me talk, you might think this is a joke and you might think, oh, Miss Bev, da-da-da. Here it is in writing, in living words. This is Granny writing to me. She says, God bless you for everything you send for me. Your purse will never empty. Your basket will be filled always. And I do hope that all the things you do, it will always turn out right. And your sympathy, your love, your kindness day to day will bring much happiness in your life. And God blessings will rest upon your children's. I am very glad that you met with some of the families over there. This is Granny, and if you can read it, guys, there's living proof. When I talk to me, you might say, oh, she's just saying this, she's just saying that. But here's living proof, people. Living proof. You hear me? And that's Granny blessing me. Blessing me, she says. In the end, she talked about the goats. I didn't even remember that I had bought goats up there. So she said, I did not remember to tell you about the goats. It says it had 2 kids. And what have you? He bought 3 lots of kids. And that one. And so it happens myself. And some of the goat kids had died, but she was saying it happened to herself. And I send money from the money to buy all of, oh my God. So she carried the pictures to show her. She carried, and the families are looking so well. I must say, thank God I can still move about. I don't lie in bed even when the pain is still on me. Because she had arthritis in her knees, but she never sat down and complained. Sometimes she sit and we have to kind of hold her to get up, but she kept going. Lived to be 96 years old. My God, what a blessing today. What a blessing. And she said, this is Sister Marita, this is her neighbor. She's feeling much better now. And she telling me like a neighbor, her name was Bev too, and she walked like a duck. Her knees were knocked and people used to call her Duck. She's telling me that Bev have to have a baby. This was 1992, people. This is 2022, right? This is 2022. And this is a letter from Granny. And Granny died in 2005. And I still have memories. And wishing you and the children, your brother, and the rest of the families God's blessings. I am your same grandmother, A. Stewart. Her name was Alice Stewart, right there from Springfield, St. Elizabeth. And if you ever drop by up in that area, ask about Sakuli. Ask about Sakuli. And they will tell you she always lived for others. And so this is a testament, guys. I have it still here intact, right? Have it still intact. My children can have it to read later. I have it here still intact. 1992, Granny wrote me a letter, and I still have Granny's letter. And I'm telling you, these, when I talk from the heart, because I know she wasn't rich. She was rich in the goodness of God. She had a heart of gold. And I tell you, parents, that if you teach your children well, if they see you live a certain way. I see Granny, she never cursed. My Granny's favorite word was brute. Wretch and brute. Those are her words. You never hear her cuss. You never see her drunk. She never, like when they would have farmers get together and they would stop at my aunt's shop and they would all there talking and having a good time. They buy the beers and drink. They would buy Granny her beer. Granny not drinking, but she'd bring it home, and that's how I learned to mix the sugar with in the sugar and water, and then add a beer in it, and it is so refreshingly good. And so I grew up too, not a drinker, because, didn't learn it when I was young. So I'm feeling fulfilled today, guys. And as I say, I speak from the heart. I speak from most of my experiences, whether it happened to me personally or something I've seen or heard. And it's not made up, it's real. And so I can tell you that when you do the things that you do, when you wish others well, people, some will forget and some will bite the hands that fed them. Some will quickly forget. But listen, I just tell people, don't do that. You might not be able to give back what they give to you ever. Because when people support and encourage and support us, it's not the same thing they're going to need. So for some, it's just as simple thing as watching a video that I do and commenting on the video or sharing the video or just communicating with me or saying good morning, thank you for this or what. It's not hard. Simple little things that makes my day because I'm working. I can find certain things. I can do certain things. But there's some people now it doesn't matter. They just forget. And so when you bite that hand that fed you, believe me, you're going to be hungry again. But tell you what, when you bite hands that fed you, when you're hungry again or really, really need to be fed, that hand is going to be afraid to stretch to you because it's going to be afraid to be bitten again. So a lot of times you see people struggle and they struggle and nothing changes for them. They struggle some more. And let me tell you something. Sometimes you got to just say, and you keep going. So people, I'm here talking to you. I'm going to shower now and I'm going to get some things done. I probably just chill for today and then, and tomorrow and then Monday, hopefully I get up and just get in that mode to just start moving around some things in the house and just maybe do some little things that I should have done earlier, but just it's a good day. God bless all of you where you are. May He open the windows of heaven and just pour you out a blessing that you won't have room enough to receive it. And as you receive those blessings, I ask that you become a blessing to others and don't ever just feel good about you having and the others not. Always feel good that you have and you share with others. Whether it's your mothers, your brothers, in whoever it is, just give a little bit back and make somebody else feel their hearts feel a little lighter too. So go forth in peace. If you can't be good, be careful, but walk good. Walk good. Walk with love. Walk with that peace that passeth understanding so that you can be that blessing for others. All right? So Miss Bev says, comment on my videos. And for those of you who are not able to comment, thank you so much. And for those of you who are consistently commenting, I thank you. I appreciate you. I like to read your thoughts about my videos. I like it when we give kids work and we respond to them and we show them. When I do math and I would check their work and I put an excellent on it, you'd be surprised to know how proud these kids are. That when I check work, if I don't put an excellent, they'll come back and whisper to me and say, I got them all right, but you didn't give me an excellent. And you smile softly and you said, okay. And you give them because they look forward to it. So I'm not looking for self-praise. I'm not looking for anything because God is my keeper. God is the one that I expect to bless me. And He has done so continuously. So I'm not looking for those things, people. When I do a video or I put things out there, I'm not looking for anything. I'm looking for you to support. If I'm doing a project you want to support, you can. Go ahead and support because the more we support, the more the blessings come back to us in different forms. And so nothing is personal. So be good to yourselves. Walk good in Christ's name.